Cadence is very driven. She really excels. I'm not going to say she's the most competitive, but she brings something to the table that not all students can bring, and it's not something you can necessarily put your finger on. But she's very driven, she's very reserved, but she speaks when she needs to speak. She knows how to read a room. And so being my captain this year, that's one of the qualities I look for, is my captain has to be able to read the team and know the strengths and weaknesses. And she had the 2 years prior under a bunch of, well, last year they were all seniors, where she actually got to read them and learn how to read what you needed to be able to do for Quiz Bowl for the captain. But one of the things that I've always noticed, she's very driven, she is very punctual, and it's got to be done a specific way. And if it's not in that way, it can just throw things off, which I'm kind of the same way sometimes.
I'm just very self-motivated. My parents have always been like that, so I guess it just kind of rubbed off on me. I've been surrounded by band parents that would do anything for their kids, whether they had to stay up building props all night or painting or sewing, anything they needed. So seeing that they were driven to help their kids also affected me and made me want to be driven for myself.
I think the future holds quite a bit for her. She is going to be successful in whatever she does because she is determined to get it done, and she's going to make those things happen.
Right after graduation, I'm going to Nichols. I already signed, and I'm going to major in business and minor in geology because I also have a huge rock collection. And eventually it'll turn into me going work for a jewelry store or eventually creating my own jewelry store where I could appraise my own things and really understand what each piece is.
I've known her since she was in elementary school because my children being in the band with her dad, I got to see her. And one of the things that I always remember is her birthday is always during festival season. So they would usually have a cake after one of the rehearsals or before going to one of the competitions where we would the band would sing happy birthday to Cadence, and we would give cupcakes or cake or whatever to the band students. So she was always around between her mom and her dad being with the band.
I want to stay close to home with my family. I want to have my own little small family. Hopefully the jewelry stuff goes really well and I'll have my own store where I could sell whatever I want. I'll be living in a big old fancy house.
I would hope that they would remember the class itself, but a lot of them will probably remember me as that crazy science teacher, that crazy science lady, which is my Twitter handle, as a matter of fact, crazy science lady. I tend to do lots of experiments that some people would probably term off the wall, but it's got more of a real life spin to it where the kids actually go out and they can actually see the science in what they do. I think a lot of them, I would want them to remember me as that crazy science teacher that really brought science to life.
Well, when I first met her, I was probably, I don't know, about 6, and I was with my parents at one of the other band parents' houses, and we were all sewing color guard flags because they didn't print them then. And she was one of the parents that was sewing, and I went and do it with her, like she just taught me how to do it. And so we would do that together when I was younger, and she's just always been there since.
That was my high school chemistry and physics teacher, Miss Mobile at Assumption High School. She really affected a lot of what I did. And I think another one was my middle school band director, Joe Billy King. He's retired now, but he kind of sparked some things in me as well that helped me to touch base and understand some of the things that made my mind tick.
Well, I've known her for a very long time, and she was always a big part of my life. Whether I was at a football game, she would come tell me hey, and she would go take pictures of me with the band. and I just saw how much she helped my family when they needed help. And we do the same to her. We've been helping her move her stuff because she's retiring and moving up to Connecticut. But I feel like she really knows who I am. She's seen me at my high and my low when I was younger, and now she's just seen it all, and she really understands what has happened, not just to me, but to my family and everyone else around me.
I like seeing the light bulbs go off. I remember in high school, in taking my chemistry and my physics class, which is one of the reasons why I decided to major in chemistry and physics education. I remember my teacher it just set off some light bulbs. It's like I really enjoyed it. I had the best combination of math with science.